Okay, welcome to the 3 secrets to securing funded accounts, this masterclass. Thank you for taking advantage of this opportunity. You're one of 100 students who has, so it's great to have you here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share these secrets in a second. There's one thing I would love to share prior to that, and that's a little bit more about myself and my journey, because it's integral to know that I'm coming from a perspective, a very unique angle. I come from a trading background myself, I come from a performance coaching background myself, and I've helped a lot of traders secure funding. I've helped a lot of education companies and prop firms tighten up their psychological education to ensure that the traders are getting exactly what they need. So this masterclass is going to give you some key insights, 3 key insights to ensuring you secure and you continue to scale your funded accounts into the future. My journey started about 6.5 years ago. And I had a very unique start to my journey. I had a initial curiosity pop up in the markets because of my uncle, who was doing a lot of stock buying and that type of stuff. And that really piqued my curiosity initially. And I went on to a LinkedIn page and I got one of those free memberships. I think it was 30 days at the time. And I outreached as many traders as I could on LinkedIn. And there were 2 individuals that responded to me. The first one said, no, I can't mentor you, because I was reaching out on LinkedIn to get a mentor to teach me how to trade. The first individual said, no, I can't mentor you, but check out a book called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do that later on. Another individual called Mike said, yes, I'll help you out and I'll mentor you. And he told me to jump on a chart, put these indicators on and email him when he was done. And I did that, and that was the kickstart or the starting point of a 2-year mentorship between myself and Mike, one-on-one mentorship. Now, Mike taught me his strategy, and it got to the point where I was managing the strategy well. He didn't even need to check the charts. I was the one who was looking at the strategy, finding the opportunities, and sending them through to Mike. So he got a great return on investment from that mentorship as well. And it was with Mike's strategy initially that I went off and picked up my first round of investment, a 6-figure, $100,000 investment, where I pulled together some capital from some investors and I started to trade that. I started to manage that for them. And at that point in my trading journey, I had a great system. I had a great track record, had some solid months track record on the board, and I was ready to scale up. The one thing I didn't know at the time was that I hadn't put enough time, effort, or energy into myself, into my psychology, and understanding what's going on in my head. So when I started to manage that capital, of course, because there's more capital there, the emotional volatilities go through the roof. And I took a loss, and I started to revenge trade, and I started to be extremely emotional and go away from my plan. And the strategy was there, the plan was there, but because I hadn't managed my emotions, because I hadn't mastered my trading mindset, I couldn't actually stick to the plan. I couldn't execute on the plan. So it didn't matter if I had a good plan or not. I didn't have the psychology that allowed me to continuously execute on that. And of course, a lot of what I do now through Master Trading Mindset is giving traders the tools, the education, the principles to allow them to ensure their psychology is on point so they can manage capital and they can get funded and they can scale this funding. So I ended up losing that initial round of investment, and that was a big sting for me at that point in time. I was depressed, I was very down because I had unrealistic expectations of myself and my trading journey. And it was at that point where I realized that, I needed to do something about this. And I knew I needed to do something with my psychology. That initial guy on LinkedIn said, read a book called Trading in the Zone. I checked that out. I got a lot of great insights from Mark Douglas and Trading in the Zone. But there was still a point that I knew within myself that I hadn't achieved the brain change that I needed to achieve. Right? Reading a book and understanding principles is very different to inculcating principles and actually achieving brain change. I decided to take a deep dive mentorship with Dr. John Demartini, who's the top human behavioral specialist in the world. And I studied a lot of his principles on neurology, on the brain, on human behavior, on risk, on decision making. And that's really where I learned the principles that I teach today. And the principles that actually allow you to get brain change and that actually allow you to change your brain to start thinking like a professional trader. It's no longer about just understanding principles, it's about inculcating principles and being the trader who successfully manages capital. And it was through my mentorship with Dr. Demartini that I learned a lot of those things. And fast forward to today, I run an education and performance coaching business called Master Trading Mindset. And Master Your Trading Mindset is the culmination of my last 6 years of trading. It's the culmination of having thousands of students go through my programs and interacting with those students. It's having worked with hundreds of traders one-on-one as a performance coach, consulting for education companies and prop firms. I put all the information together, my studies in human behavior and psychology. I put everything together, understanding Mark Douglas's principles, understanding Dean Martini's principles, my own principles that I developed. I put it all together and I created the 12-week program. The 12-week trading mindset transformation program that I run is the complete synthesis of all those principles. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you 3 secrets that I've seen from my unique position and perspective that allows traders to get funded and keep and scale that funding. We're going to dive into those principles now. They're going to be extremely eye-opening. They're going to give you some great insights, and some of you will just take these principles and they'll help you get funded. And they will help you lower your emotional volatilities, and you'll start being a better trader if you implement these principles. So let's get into the 3 secrets. Let me start sharing some of these things with you. Implement them. Message me when you get value from these and you see the change in your psychology. I'll be sending you an email tomorrow probably anyway. So you'll get a follow-up from me so we can interact if you have questions. But implement these principles. I guarantee they'll make a difference and they'll help you get funded. Okay. Now the first secret here, put yourself in a position to win. Okay. This is such a simple thing, yet I see so many traders, they're not putting themselves in a position to win. They may be making 5% a month as a trader, and that's what they have consistently, which is great, by the way. Such amazing results. But then they're going for an FTMO or they're going for my Forex funds, which the challenge, you have to hit 10% in the first month. You have to hit 8% in the first month. They're not putting themselves in a position to win. Okay, so it's really important that as traders, wherever we can, we have the ability to extract alpha. We have an edge. We put ourselves in a position to win. Okay, if you're returning 5, 6, 7, 8% a month, or 3, 4% a month, these are incredible results. Okay, this is the issue. The prop firms have set a standard that 10% a month is what you have to be hitting. And if you're not, you're a terrible trader, which is completely ludicrous, right? You have a look at the best investors in the world. Some of them are only hitting 20% per annum. You know, look at Warren Buffett, his track record is probably about 20% per annum. So if you can hit 3, 4% per month and you can consistently do that, you're outperforming the best investors of all time. So you really need to have a perspective shift and you need to put yourself in a position to win. Okay, so let me dive a little bit deeper on this. Is 8 to 10% in 1 month possible? Is it reasonable for you? If it is, great. An FTMO or my Forex funds may be a great option. If you look at your results, you may be hitting 3, 4% per month, maybe 5, 6% per month. I know for me personally, I'm in that mid-range, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6% per month consistently. Then I know a FTMO or a my Forex fund isn't going to be for me. And I'm not going to go off and expect myself to do a challenge for FTMO or my Forex funds and get funded. I'm not putting myself in a position to win. I'm putting myself in a position to be extremely stressed out with strict time requirements that I know I'm not going to be able to hit. So what you can do, you've got 2 options in this situation. You can either look, if you know that 8 to 10% per month isn't reasonable for you, you can either look at an alternative like a CTI, a City Traders Emporium. They have a great funding program and they give you 6 months to pass the funded challenge. It takes all the pressure off your shoulders and allows you to just consistently execute on your plan. That's it. Okay? Or what you can do is you can put together a game plan before you go into the funded challenge, and you can adjust your risk safely, meaning that, let's say for example, you start at FTMO or my Forex funds, and in the first couple trades, you move into the black and you take a few wins. Maybe you're sitting 2, 3% up. What you can do is you can start to risk a little bit more. Instead of risking just 1%, you can maybe risk 1.5% or 2%. So you can catapult yourself to that target just for the challenge, but you want to ensure that you stay in the black. You want to ensure you stay in the positive. Because as you guys and girls know, if you stay in the positive for these funding challenges, you get a free repeat. So you can safely adjust your risk by slowly, incrementally scaling up how much you risk per trade as you move closer to the profit target. Okay? That's something you can do, but you want to set that as a game plan before you get into the challenge. You don't want to do it emotionally in the moment. Or like I just mentioned, you can look into longer challenges like a CTI. They have a great funding challenge that you can do. Or if you have the cash, you can just buy an instant funded account. But you want to ensure that you have everything in place first and you're not just jumping into the instant funded accounts as a way to get capital on a poor foundation. Now, the other thing you want to do to put yourself in a position to win is as you get closer to the drawdown buffer, let's say it's a 10% drawdown buffer, you want to slowly scale your risk down. So maybe in a drawdown, if you're 0 to -5, you're risking 1%, -5 to -7.5, you half your risk, you're risking 0.5%. -7.5 to -10 drawdown buffer, you're risking 0.25%. So as you get closer to hitting the drawdown buffer, you slowly scale your risk down. What that does is it doubles the amount of trades you can take. Instead of being able to take 10 or 11 or 12 losses, whatever it may be, you can now take 20, 25 losses before you hit that drawdown buffer. Okay, so you want to put yourself in a position to win. You want to create a game plan, which is what we're going to talk about next, and ensure that you're in a situation to actually secure the funded account based on the rules they set. A lot of people don't have the skill, don't have the trading plan to ensure they're hitting these buffers and they're going for them. You wanna have a look, be honest, look at your trading and see, am I better off going to CTI? Because I just don't think I'm going to be able to hit 8 to 10% in 1 month, which is fine. I know I can't. I know my strategy doesn't permit that. My lifestyle doesn't permit that. I don't want to do that. So I just go for a CTI. It just takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders. Secret number 2, process. Okay? Have a game plan going into the challenge. Why? Because game plans and processes eliminate emotion out of the decision making. If you are deciding to go for an FTMO or MyForex funds and you do want to scale your risk up, great, plan it before you get in. Know exactly when you're going to do it. Know exactly how much up you're going to be before you slowly increment your risk, and maybe you're going to go from risky 1% to 1.25 to 1.5 to 2. Have a game plan before you go into the challenge. Having a game plan allows you to eliminate emotion out of the picture. It allows you to just consistently execute on the process. Process takes the guesswork, which means takes the emotion out of situations. It's extremely important to have a game plan about what you're going to do in the challenge when you're in a funded challenge. It's also extremely important to have a process towards your trading plan and ensure your trading systems and your trading plan is clearly outlined. You know exactly what you look for in terms of your entries, in terms of your management, in terms of your risk. You've got it all in a trading plan. You've got it all written down, so you don't need to think about it when you're in the challenge. Because guesswork means emotion, and then you add the time pressure on top of that, you're going to be highly emotionally volatile, and you're not going to be making good decisions. And this is why a lot of traders fail the challenges, because they don't have processes, and then they have the time pressure and they get extremely emotional and they do things that aren't great for the challenge. And ensure your system is process-based. Ensure you have a trading plan that is process-based. So crucial, so key. I've seen this as a key distinguishing factor between what makes a successful trader and what makes a not so successful trader. The successful traders always have great processes. They got a clear trading plan, a simple trading plan. They have game plans for every situation. It's really key. Now, also ensure your risk protocol is planned. From the previous thing I talked about, giving yourself permission to actually win and putting yourself in a position to win, if you are going to incrementally scale your risk up as you get into positive numbers, or incrementally scale your risk down as you get into negative numbers, ensure that risk protocol is planned, it's prepared, and you know exactly what that looks like, and it's in your trading plan, all written down. Secret number 3, master emotional management. Okay, this again is, everybody knows that trading is 90% psychological, 10% technical. This is why I've built Master Your Trading Mindset, is to help traders gain mastery over their emotions so that they can consistently execute on their plan and have consistent results. Now, mastering your emotional state is about, and it starts with, the management of your expectations. Your expectations are the cornerstone of your emotional reaction. Let's say, for example, you have an expectation of a positive outcome, right? You're so elated by a certain outcome of getting funded, of the money you can make from that, of all the things you can buy, of all the status you'll have, then you now fear losing that funded account because you don't want to lose all those positive expectations you've just projected onto it. And then as you get close to that drawdown, you're going to be highly emotional because you're going to lose all those positive expectations you've projected onto that funded account. And when you get close to hitting the challenge and maybe you get funded, you may not feel worthy of that because it's so high up on a pedestal that it doesn't even feel real and it doesn't even feel like you're worthy of that particular fantasy. So you have to learn to manage your expectations and what you're projecting and what you're expecting these funded accounts to do. Any sort of outcome-based expectation will make you fear losing it. Okay, something like this will change my life is an outcome-based expectation, and you're gonna fear losing this funded account now. And because of that fear, you're gonna be emotional in your decision-making, you're gonna go away from your processes, and you're gonna spiral out of control. So you have to be aware of all these expectations that you're projecting onto the funded account, all the expectations you have when you get into the challenge, all the expectations you have when you get the funded account. Anything based on the outcome of what you think that funded account is going to give you is going to leave you emotional. You're going to feel losing that, you're going to be highly emotional, and you're going to go away from your processes, okay? Now, these outcome-based expectations is what drives emotional behavior because of the fear. This funded account is going to change my life. I fear losing that. Now, I'm going to be emotional when I trade because I'm not going to trade my trading plan. I'm going to trade based on what I think out of these hunches I have, because we have a natural yearning to seek after pleasure and avoid pain, and we want to avoid fear. Now, based on probability, we have to take losses. But if we have highly heightened fear responses, we're not going to want to experience that. We're not going to want to go through losses, even though they may exactly be what we have to do for our edge to play out. So you have to be aware of these outcome-based expectations. They will drive fear, and they will drive you away from sticking to your trading plan, sticking to your processes. So it all starts with those expectations we project. Be aware of them, manage them, ensure they're kept in check. And also before every trade, make sure you have process-based expectations. Any expectation on an individual trade based on what you think that trade is going to do is outcome-based and unrealistic, because nobody knows what's going to happen next. Ensure every trade you take before you get into that position, you're taking that trade because it aligns with your trading plan, not because of what you think the trade's going to do. And if you can have that awareness in your mind of the expectations you're projecting onto the market, it will make a difference. You'll start building more consistency because you'll be acting according to your edge that's written in your trading plan. Ensure you're making process-based decisions, and ensure that every decision you're making is because it aligns with your trading plan, not because of this idea you've created in your head and you want to seek after that win, or because you think a position is going to go a certain direction and you're trying to capture that. Ensure you're grounded, you're aware of any outcome-based unrealistic expectations you have, and ensure you're making decisions based on what your trading plan states. And you have to understand, in a challenge, in a funded challenge, these expectations are heightened because every time you get closer to hitting the target, you get closer to getting funded. And those are the expectations you may project onto the trade. This is the trade that's going to get me funded. And that may lead you emotionally to taking a trade that isn't part of your plan. So you have to be aware of those expectations. You have to catch them and have the self-awareness to ground yourself. Now, I talk about mastering emotional management and mastering your emotional state in detail in the 12-week program. This is really where I go into and teach you every single component to mastering your psychology, overcoming the psychological challenges that hold you back, and giving you each of the steps, the 12 steps that I've created that have helped many, many traders get funded. We've got about $3 million in funding by students who've gone through this program. And we've got really great transformations and testimonials from these individuals who've completely transformed their emotional state as traders. They've eliminated stress. They know how to manage certain difficult components and losing and the sting of losing. They know how to manage these things. Now, we have a very special offer for each and every single one of you who has joined this particular 3 secrets. The offer is below, so make sure you check that out. And if you've resonated with these particular principles, you're going to absolutely love the 12-week program. There's a cohort starting end of this week, so ensure you get into that. If that's something that you're called or you feel called to do, it will be highly transformative to your psychology, to you getting funded, and not only getting funded, but continuing to manage this funded capital and scaling it in the future is key. I'll give you each of the 12 steps that I've created that I teach to my students to ensure that they get funded and they manage that funding successfully. So hopefully you got insights from these particular secrets. I think that if you go off and implement them, they're going to make a difference in your funding, in your trading in general. And if you're inspired to, check out the 12-week program. That will make a big difference in your trading and in your life. So in summary, you want to put yourself in a position to win. You want to make sure you're going into funded challenges that you know align with your trading style and align with your approach to the markets. And if you are going for something that is maybe a little bit out of reach of your monthly targets, implement some sort of risk model to scale up to the upside when you're in the positive and scale down when you get into the negative. This will put yourself in the best position to win. Make sure everything is process-based. You have a game plan written out, because processes take emotion out of the situation. And because of that time pressure, it can get really emotional in the challenge. So you want to make sure you have everything planned before you get into that challenge and you're organized. And then you also want to master your emotional state. This is done by mastering your expectations. And I give you my full masterclass on this in the 12-week program, which will blow your mind. So check that out if you're interested in that and you want to get more. But I look forward to continuing to work with you guys. We'll be checking in very shortly, and I will speak to you all very soon.